Good morning, everyone. Good morning, friends. This is Jim with Regenerate, Don't Degenerate. Excited to be here today. I'm going to do what I can to make this a fun, enjoyable day for you. Glad that you can be here. We're going to look better, feel better as a result of what we're doing. Now, we're just getting started, so we're kind of taking it easy. But as we go forward with all of this, what we're going to find is we can do more and more, and we're going to feel better and better. You know, if I had a camera person taking care of the camera, this would be a little easier. I can see right now with what I'm doing. I'm going to be doing a little bit more setting today because this is Friday. This is the day I show the adjustments for the folks who are setting. So I need to make a slight adjustment in how the camera is looking. So there we go. Sorry for the in-camera adjustment. So you can see a little bit more what's going on. Still not perfect, but I'm going to move back. There we go. Okay, so as we're getting started here, I'm going to demonstrate first how these exercises can be done while you're setting, and then I will also show for those who are standing, because it is slightly different, and it's a little harder for you to imagine that than to go the other way, because usually the setting movements are simpler to go. But we need to start off, by doing our movements. So let's just kind of do some movements to get our body warmed up. We're doing that warm-up stuff again, very important. So for those of you who like to dance, this is a great time to dance. Challenge I have in getting music is that so much of the music I use is copyrighted, and if I put it on YouTube, they kind of restrict some of what I can do with my videos. So I've got to be very careful, and I haven't found appropriate exercise music to include on here. So you can just play your own music in the background if you want while you're doing it, and that can keep you in step, in time, and add some more enjoyment to it. I'm going to solve that at some point. I'm going to get that figured out. That's important, isn't it? So I'm curious, I appreciate in the comments some of your experiences as you're adding to your exercise, getting into exercise, how you're finding what we're doing. I know there's been a lot of appreciation shown, and that's great. Who is that behind me?
You're looking really good.
That's what I need, lots of help. Oh, dear. Well, supposedly we're getting our new internet today. They still haven't dug any holes, so I don't know how in the world they can install it without having new cable run in here. So new internet may not happen until sometime next week. May not happen until spring when things thaw out. I don't know how they're going to dig with how frozen the ground is right now. But hey, it's their job. They know what they're doing, right? So running this through my phone's internet connection because our internet today may actually get interrupted. So anyway, that's my life. That's what's going on. So we're keeping moving. We're getting ourselves warmed up. And for those of you who are standing up, you're doing that marching thing, picking those knees up. Now you can do a little box step if you want. Just kind of take yourself around in a box and, keep it moving that way. Let me get my head down here so I can stay in the picture. So you can do the side step shuffle if you want. Just keep it moving. Keep yourself warming up here. That's an important part. Nothing outrageous. What I like to do, and it's tough to do in these videos, I'm going to figure it out, especially as the weather gets nicer. I'm going to take you with me as I go walking, and that's how I'm going to do my warm-up. And then we can follow that with a little bit of exercise. Anyway, we'll figure out how that's done and make that happen so that it can be beneficial. Going for walks is great, outside and around nature, whether you live in town or out in something a little more rural. That's a great way to do it. A little bit more warm up here, and then I think we can get started. It's going to be a light session today, not too tough. We're still just doing some basic movements to get ourselves to where we're understanding how to handle our body and what to do with our body. Now remember, we talked a lot the other day about our core, keeping our core engaged. Don't forget that. That's something we're doing. In fact, as we get started, we can finish our warm-up here. As we get started, from a seated position, we're going to do the core engagement. So tighten up that core. Remember, it's your abdomen down into your pelvic area. You're tightening everything up, and let's hold it for a few seconds and release it. We're really going super tight when we do this. Just, okay, tighten it up, hold it tight, real tight. Just let it down. Let's do a few more of those. Hold it tight, everything's tight. Let it down. It's great. This is the kind of exercise, hold it tight, that you can do while you're doing anything, washing dishes, any of the actions you're doing where you're just standing, let it go. In the kitchen while you're cooking, while you're sitting watching TV, hold it tight. Let's hold it in tight. Let it down. So it can be done all the time. You can do this multiple times during the day. I suggest that you look at doing that, especially if you're doing some sitting like Ren and I do, where we're at the computer a lot sometimes. That's what my work has me doing. It's important to get your posture, get yourself sitting up straight, not that hunched over looking into there, or wherever you monitor it, even if it's up high, you're not going to be sitting straight. So concentrate on sitting straight, but you can practice this activation of your core. Tighten it, let it down. Tighten it, let it down. Just go through several of those to where you do more and more. You can get yourself, it just becomes like your normal that you'll feel. So today, I'm going to do a few movements and stretches that have our body and our legs and our back in the kind of positions and the kind of movements that are safe to do, and building on what we're going to use as we start doing more exercises that are more strenuous, some of which are going to have weights involved with them. Stretch bands, that type of thing. We're going to start with a squat with weight to chest. So as you're sitting, you're really not going to squat so much, but it would be like a forward motion and then bring it up to your chest. So you're taking your hands down, bringing them up to your chest. For those of you who are standing, feet kind of spread apart, you're going to squat, bring it up. Squat, bring it up. You're looking good. You're doing great. I can see you right there through the camera. We're going to do several of these. 1, 2, 1, 2. And we're breathing. And our core is engaged while we're doing this. And we're saying, wow, Jim, I'm feeling so much better getting these movements than I was doing before. Hope you like the fact I've done some variety for you. You don't always have to do the same exercises every day. It's good to have a routine. Sometimes it's good to have a variety, and that's what I'm going to strive to do. That way we can get more movements, more body parts. You really get every muscle, every joint activated and strengthened. It's going to be very helpful for us to do that. Now we're going to go into what's called the wood chopper. So with that, we got our hands up here and we're doing this kind of thing. So you notice I have one leg forward, one leg kind of back. It's usually a split stance when you're wood chopping. And I'm going away from the leg that's forward and toward the legs that's back, if you will. So it's the old wood chop routine. So a little bit of action with the arms, a little bit of action with the back, but a different position of our legs. For those of you who are standing up, you may need a chair to help balance you, but we're doing a split leg. Well, that's aggravating. You're squatting, we're going to the side. I'm excited to get better internet so I don't have to put up with those stoppages. A few more of this on this side. And then we're going to switch to the other side. I'm going to show first here as we're doing the stand up. And like I say, if you have to have a support, you can go like that. Keep yourself supported. For those of you sitting down, we've switched sides. And now we're going over here like this, okay? And a few more of these. getting us a good workout there, right? You know, I realize that while YouTube is recording this for me, when it's stopping and having to start again, it's doing multiple videos. I don't know if they can stitch those together. I gotta look and see if there's a way to do that. That may force me to, well, we'll see. When we get the better internet here, if that's not a problem, great. If it's still a problem, I may not be able to do the live. I may just have to record them so that I have one full video and then put it on. Not the end of the world. It's better than having a mess that you have to deal with, right? So the next one we're going to do is the forward lunge. So when you're sitting down, you know, it's essentially, we're going to do this kind of movement. And we're going to switch and go to the other side. So keep doing those. If you're standing, we're kind of out like this. You don't have to go as deep as I'm going. Go as far as you can without hurting yourself. We're switching our legs back and forth though. So this is a good old forward lunge. So as you're sitting, you're kind of giving it this kind of routine. Switching your legs back and forth as best you can. A few more of those. We'll be good, right? Nice forward lunge. You know, once again, you notice the difference between standing and sitting. There's some things that aren't happening when you're sitting that do happen when you're standing. And life is like that, isn't it? We always have to adapt what needs to happen with what we can do. We do what we can. We do as much as we can. And that's the trick. You know, if we say, well, I can't do anything, when you can do some things, but because it's hard and you can't do it as perfect as the person standing up, for instance, and you decide to do nothing, that doesn't help. That actually, as you do less and less, you can do less and less. And eventually it is true. Yeah, you can't do it. But what can you do? Do that much and keep doing that consistently. That way you lose it slower. And in fact, I believe in the vast majority, well into the 90 percentile ranges, you can regenerate, you can regain those abilities. There's a lot of examples. If you talk to people, you'll find many have done that. So the next one, we're going to do a forward lunge with rotation. So we're going to go forward with our left, back with our right, and then as we've lunged out, we're going to spin to the opposite side from the foot that's out forward, okay? So we go right foot forward, left foot back, turn to the left. Come back. Left foot forward, right foot back, turn to the right. So keep doing that. Those of you who are standing up, we lunge out, we turn if we don't fall. Then we come back to neutral. Lunge out, turn. Back to neutral. Lunge out, turn. Back to neutral. So we keep doing that here. So we're lunging out, turning, back to neutral, lunge out, turn, back to neutral. Okay, you got that motion? We've added a little bit to what we've been doing in the past, right? So this is kind of a lot of good motions. Okay, that's good. We're looking great. We're getting more motions going on. We're feeling like, wow, Jim, we're going somewhere now. We're getting some progress, okay? The next one we're going to do is slightly different, not really involving our back or our legs, but it's just going to be the one-arm press. So nice high reach. If you can't reach as high as I am, that's fine. Reach as high as you can. We're just alternating our arms, pressing straight up. Now, I may adjust this as we go forward, but this is a start. This is obviously working on our arms and our shoulders, which also takes some of our back activation. Now, promise me you're keeping this core engaged while you're doing this and you're breathing well. You know, For those of you standing up, you're not going to be able to see me as well. Let me get down on my knees. So same kind of thing, really not that much difference between sitting and standing for this one, is there? I didn't mention, for those of you who may have a need for pain medication, get those on board 30, 40 minutes before we exercise, right? So that anything we do is not going to make us really uncomfortable. And I do hope you've been drinking plenty of liquid. I know I'm pretty tanked up on liquid here today myself. Got a good start on that. That's important that you're hydrated. You got to be hydrated. Your body's going to need that hydration as you're doing all of these exercises. And it helps keep you a lot healthier. Giving you a hint here, right? Core's engaged. We're not letting that go slack on us, right? Okay, that was the one arm shoulder press. Now, I'm gonna show you, this is pretty hard when you're sitting down. Hopefully we can get a good view of this. This is a hip hinge. And if you've got some kind of a straight gadget like this, it helps if you can hold it like this. So you're going to make certain that your back and your head, everything stays engaged. Now, when we're standing, it's a little different when we're sitting, but we still want to kind of, when we're sitting, is push our little rumpus back as we lean forward. That helps us get our center of gravity where it needs to be, and we want to keep ourselves in a straight line here. We don't want to be deviating our back as we go. Now let me stand up and show for those of you who are standing what this looks like when you're standing. So you have the straight line from head down to your rumpus. You stick your rumpus out and you bend forward. That's the hip hinge. Very important that we get this practiced, so that when we start exercising with more weights and more strenuous kinds of exercises, that we're familiar with the movements, the way they should be done, the body mechanics correct, so we don't hurt ourselves, and we're able to do more. It's so important. Injury happens a lot. And the reason that so many people do get injured is because of improper technique. And as a result of improper technique, you start hurting yourself. And the last thing we want to do is to hurt ourselves while we're exercising. I mean, that's the opposite of what we're trying to accomplish. We're trying to strengthen ourselves and increase our flexibility and increase our balance so that we don't hurt ourselves in any kind of situation. That's the whole idea. So the last thing you want to do is hurt yourself exercising. That would be awful to do that. So, what I want to show you is, can't do it with the board here, but we've looked at our technique. So a little bit of a hip hinge with, we're gonna do that bend forward like we were showing, and we're gonna do a one arm row. Okay, one arm row. And we can switch arms here after a few of these. And to do that, I'm gonna do the stand up movement. So we've hinged ourselves, we're doing the one arm row. So we're going to go to the other arm now. Keep rowing, keep rowing. Remember that rumpus is sticking out. We have a straight line from our head down to our rumpus. Hopefully we've got that maintained. Let's see how do I look. Do I look okay? I think so. I think we're looking good there, right? A few more of those. And we're going to come up, bring ourselves up. So valuable to be getting these different movements going on. This next one is a little bit more difficult when we're sitting down, but still, and it's very similar to when we're sitting, it's very similar to the one that we just did. But this is actually a static lunge with a spinal rotation. So what we want to do is get like we're in our lunge position, 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, and we're actually going to rotate the other way. We're going to rotate into the forward foot. So we rotate into it, and then we rotate all the way back over to the other side, and we come back to center. Now we're going to get our other stance. We're going to have other foot forward, okay? So we're going to rotate into the leg that's forward, and then we're going to go rotate all the way back the other way. Remember, we're keeping ourselves upright, core engaged, we're breathing. Now, for those of you who are doing this standing up, what you're going to do, you're in a lunge position. So however far you're comfortable getting your feet spread apart. And once again, if you have to move your feet out to where you have a wider base so that you're less likely to tip over, that's fine. This also works on your balance if you're noticing. So we're out like that. We're going to rotate into the one and then away from it. And Jim may need to move his feet around. That really changes your center of gravity, doesn't it? So change feet. We're going to do a few more of these. We're going to rotate into it. Slowly rotate away from it. Rotate into it. Slowly rotate away from it. And we're going to switch sides once again. Rotate into it. Rotate away from it. Rotate into it. Rotate away from it. How's that making you feel? I'm guessing you're saying, wow, we warmed up and I'm doing these movements that are getting me more limber. I'm moving around. It's feeling great. Now, once again, if you've got issues to where you're feeling pain when you do it, don't push yourself into the part where it's really hurting. We're not into hurting. We just want to do what we can do without having the pain. And what happens over time is that amount of movement we can do increases. We can do more and more, and we feel better and better. So it's time for cool down, isn't it? So what we're going to do for a simple cool down is we're going to start with just some breathing exercises and then a couple of movements. But we're going to breathe in through our mouth and then out through our nose. And we're keeping ourselves sitting up straight. We're watching our posture. Our core is engaged. So I'm doing it backwards. It's in through your nose, out through your mouth. Woo! Okay, here we go. Is that helping you relax? In through your nose, out through your mouth. It's hard to talk and do breathing exercises, isn't it? It's my challenge. Let's do 2 more of those. Core is engaged, sitting up straight. Okay, the next one, you're going to see the top of my head, right? We're going to lean forward. Just kind of let ourselves go down. For those of you who are standing, you may need to get yourself a prop over here to help yourself from falling. You're just letting yourself lean into it. Knees are flexed. You're not trying to keep them locked in place, just letting them flex. You're hanging forward. You're not trying to hold it back. You're just kind of letting it relax. You might find yourself going deeper and deeper as you do that. Sometimes I find that my legs start to get a little bit nervous when I do that. If it's too much, it's too much. Take yourself up slowly when you get to the point that it feels like it's too much, and go and just relax standing there. I let myself go a little bit more. I like to go like 15 seconds or so to really get this total benefit of this movement. Bring yourself up slowly when you're finished. Okay, let me take a knee here. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you joining me and being part of this. I know we're having a great time. I know that we're getting ourselves more flexible. We're starting to get those movements going on and feeling like we can do more. We're real close to adding things a little bit more challenging to this for those who are looking forward to that. But once again, if you find that what we're doing here is still really challenging, stick with it. Just repeat these first 2 weeks over and over again until you start to feel like, wow, you know, I can do more. Don't go too far too fast. I'm going to go ahead and go forward just so that I can have additional kinds of movements for everybody. and that's fine. Do them when you're ready for them, but not before. You can watch, you can enjoy, you can take advantage of it, but don't try to go too far too fast. I keep saying this over and over. Too many people try to exercise too much and they hurt themselves, and you pay for it when you do that. You don't want to do that. When you keep yourself invigorated and excited about what you're doing and able to do more and more. But once again, thanks for watching. Be sure you subscribe, and if you want to get notifications, click on the little bell that's up there at the top on the right side of your screen, and you'll get notifications when new videos are posted. If you're watching it live, my attempt is Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I come live. And I've missed a couple of those over the next week or so. Definitely going to hit every one of those, so you can depend on that. Be sure you share this with your friends. Invite them. Make it a group. Come together. It's always great to exercise with others. You don't have to be embarrassed. We're all in this together trying to make improvements. So there's nothing embarrassing about making yourself feel better. That's a good thing. We're where we are, and we're trying to make ourselves better from there. There's nothing embarrassing about that. So stick with it. Be persistent. You'll be amazed at what you're able to create for yourself as you work to regenerate and become that person you want to be. Thanks for watching.